Yeah, Leah.
We are back. Thank you guys for just bearing with us as we have a little bit of technical difficulties on my part, of course. This is Leah Abney, your VP of Business and Financial Affairs with the Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us this evening for our general meeting. We thank you for everybody that has taken the time out tonight just to get a little bit more information. We had some great things that have happened this month. And I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping before I introduce our guest speaker, who is Miss Devona Ransom. And so I'm just going to go over a couple of housekeeping. So I have my notes, so I'm going to go off my notes on tonight. So the first thing, those of you who did not join on in this morning, we did have the NAACP panel. It was such wonderful information. Thank you, Ms. Ronique, for bringing that to the community and business owners. And just so that you know, it's still out there on our Facebook page. Am I correct, Ronique?
That is correct. Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So there's a lot of information, and yes, it's about 2 hours long, but I can tell you it's worth the 2 hours to sit there and listen to all the speaker panels that were there. They're sharing great information to help you make it through this time and to transition your business to be able to pick up some very unique tips that will help keep your business thriving. So take a moment. Again, that was the NAACP panel that was went Facebook Live on this morning. Great information. And two things that I got out of the session was update information on the PPP program. So please take a look at that. And then also Reverend Ivy, I hope I got his name correct, talk a little bit about civil engagement, but there's so much more information that is there. Please take the time to view that. And we also want to thank one of our Purpose partners, Fifth Third Bank, for their Empower You sessions. Those will continue on throughout the summer, so please check the emails for upcoming sessions. Something that again, so for most of you that may not know, SBA loan is now available. They had stopped it for a while because the funding had run out, but they've got approval for additional funding. So please go to our Linktree. You can go to Linktree/GABC to gain more information. There are links there that would take you directly to the application. So again, SBA loan is now open, and we encourage business owners to apply. In addition to that, on our Linktree page, you will see at first thing that is listed is a business survey. So we encourage all businesses, please, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are lost my thought, train of thought, or whether or not you are a storefront business, please fill out the survey. This was really help us to be able to collect data to let us know how you are doing during this time of the COVID-19, and whether or not you have applied for the loan. That is great data that we can collect. So again, please take the survey at your leisure. So now, some upcoming events that are coming up. So on tomorrow, please tune in to the Chamber Check-In. That's going to be happening tomorrow, I believe at 3 p.m. Am I correct, Renique?
Sorry, 3:30, yes.
3:30. Okay, at 3:30, they're going to have the Chamber Check-In. Also, during this month, we are offering a discount on our monthly membership, and that will happen until June. And we encourage you to become a member, because also with that, what we're doing is just to recognize our members that are part of the Chamber. For April, May, and June, we will be giving away a gift card, or a little gift token, I want to say, not necessarily a gift card. But however, you need to register and become a member by the fourth Monday, because on that fourth Thursday is when we will be announcing the winners, whoever is selected. So again, those are our housekeeping notes on tonight. So now at this point, what I'm going to do is introduce our guest speaker, and then I'm going to be quiet for a while. Um, so again, our guest speaker on tonight is Ms. Devona Ransom. She is the founder and CEO of Ransom Credit Management Services. Devona has years of credit restoration and finance experience and also a degree in accounting. Devona is passionate about helping others live out their personal and business financial dreams. She aspires to launch a global vision of financial empowerment. I introduce you, Miss Devona Ransom. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am going to go ahead and just let you go at it, and I'm just going to sit here and take notes. And I hope those of you who are joining us on this evening, that you have a notepad and a pen, take some notes. But however, also, we want to hear from you. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we will be responding to those as we go through the evening. And the floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. So tonight, our general meeting, basically it is financial literacy month for the month of April. So I wanted to kind of come on and give some tips for business owners, because I believe that this is a great time for us to sit down and to, really do an audit of our finances and the financial health of our books. So I'm going to give some tips on tonight on some things that you can kind of look into to kind of fine tune your books and your bookkeeping processes. Also, I'll give some tools that are either free or they're very cost effective that'll help your business flow more efficiently as well. So I'll go ahead and get started. So one of my first tips, especially right now, I do accounting and bookkeeping, and the biggest thing that I see with business owners is the fact that we don't always separate our personal from our financial, our personal and our business finances, and we kind of combine them. And then, it kind of brings confusion into your books. And to see the full picture, of your books, and, to kind of keep everything as simple as possible, it's best to have a personal account for your personal, and then have a separate business account for all your business expenses. And that way, like I say, it makes it a lot easier when it comes to you, keeping up with your finances, whether you're using spreadsheets, whether you have like automation tools as far as like bookkeeping software and different things that are helping you keep your finances in balance. Also, another tip that I would give is to automate whenever you can. I consult with a lot of different business owners, and it's great to use Excel sheets and different things. But what I have found to be the most efficient solution is to find some type of bookkeeping software. A lot of times we use Excel and different things just to kind of keep up with our expenses. But the purpose of having bookkeeping software as a business owner, it helps you to see the full financial picture of your business. It's not just to, keep records of what's coming in and what's going out, but you can use it as an analysis tool in which you can see, okay, what have been my most profitable months, or what's a service that's been really profitable for our business, or something that you may offer that may not have been as profitable that you can kind of focus on. And when you're using bookkeeping software, you can create reports, you can create your profit and loss, you can, look at your balance sheets of your accounts. It just automates everything, and it makes it so much more simple. And then, once tax season comes, you're not scrambling to, get your numbers in order or find receipts. There's several different bookkeeping softwares that I have personally used that I recommend. The first and that I would recommend if you're newly starting business with not a lot of revenue coming in, or not having any revenue at all. One tool that I recommend is waveapps.com. And waveapps.com, it is a free bookkeeping software. I used this initially maybe about 8 years ago when I first started up my credit repair business. And it's a great tool. You can add bank accounts. You have your chart of accounts there. It tracks just like any other bookkeeping software, but it's free. And so that's one thing, that's one software that I do recommend for business owners that are just starting out. If you have some cash that you can invest into it, another one that I suggest is freshbooks.com. With FreshBooks, I've seen where you can they have like codes and offers, introductory offers where you may get like 50% off for the first year. And I think it was about $100 and maybe $25 within the first year, the code that I saw. And that's very inexpensive for bookkeeping software, and it has great features as well. Another one that I have experience with is Sage accounting, Sage cloud accounting, excuse me. And that one is great for small business owners, and I think it's about $25 a month. And then my favorite software to use is QuickBooks. QuickBooks, it depending on the account type that you choose, it can be as low as $15 a month, and I think it goes all the way up to $150 a month. But it just depends on like the features and just your needs for your specific business. But most of the business owners that I deal with, they do use QuickBooks. QuickBooks, it's such a great software, and it has so many different features. Even if you're just self-employed and you don't have any employees or anything, they have a great self-employed subscription that you can subscribe to, and I think it's $15 a month. And you can track your mileage in that one. You can track all of your expenses, and it lets you do it gives you a lot of great features at that low price. And so, like I say, I believe that bookkeeping software, it helps automate your business. It helps take the frustration, because spreadsheets are great, but you still have to kind of calculate everything up, and it still doesn't kind of give you the full picture of where you stand financially. With bookkeeping software, you can go back and look, from year to year and do comparisons, and see what you can compare your profitability from one year to another year. So I would definitely, if you don't have any type of software, I would definitely say find some in order to automate, because that's the most frustrating aspect that I've learned, business owners have, as far as being financial savvy, or, just with the upkeep of books. And then if you aren't good with bookkeeping, find a professional, find someone that does bookkeeping, someone that comes recommended, basically get reviews, on people who you allow to do your books. But I would definitely find a professional if that's not your forte or that's not your strong suit. Because when you have someone else do your books, it is very important when it comes to accuracy, when it comes to what you're reporting to the IRS, making sure you're classifying your transactions properly. Even if you are doing your bookkeeping yourselves, it's great to just maybe like a consult every quarter, just to see what the financial health of your business is, and maybe to get some tips and some pointers on how you can increase your sales or cut back on expenses. And then I do believe even as you're looking at your finances during this downtime that we have during this pandemic, it's a great time to adjust what you have coming out, the different subscriptions you may use for your business, or the different expenses that you may have. It's a good time to kind of sit down now and see what could you maybe cut out, or what's something that you're paying for on a month-to-month basis that you may not be using, or may not be something that you started out with, but it's no longer, a service to your business. Because I know a lot of times we can have these reoccurring subscriptions and may not use them. And then while we have this time, as I stated, we can kind of find ways that we can kind of cut back on expenses. But I do believe, keeping everything automated, whatever you have to use to help your business flow more smoothly, that's a definite, it's a great aspect to make sure that you're automated in your business. As I stated, it's great to do a quarterly review, especially those that are self-employed and you've hit like a certain bracket when it comes to your business income, to make sure you're properly paying your your estimated taxes every quarter to ensure, when tax time comes around, you're not on and you've paid out what you need to pay out in terms of taxes. Even when it comes to sales taxes, a lot of when you have products and different things, bookkeeping software allows you to kind of track those sales taxes so that you can ensure that you're making accurate payments, and then also that you're making your payments timely. Um, and then also a great thing if you have employees, this is a good time to kind of maybe readjust and look at your payroll services, kind of going out and, going online and seeing what payroll services, may be a lot cheaper than what you're currently paying. Or if you're using time tracking apps, I currently use T-Sheets in my business, and it's a great time tracking app, even for those that are self-employed and you work on projects and you have to track time for those products. So, this is a great time, like I say, to kind of look at the different tools and different things that you can kind of add into your business that you may have otherwise not have had time to do, because of the business or, whatever season it is in your business. And another tip that I would give, especially businesses, when you do billing on a month-to-month basis, keep a close eye on your receivables. A lot of times when I work with business owners, if they don't have someone that is kind of working in a collections position, almost where they're keeping track of what's being paid and they're following up, making sure invoices are being paid and things are being paid timely, a lot of times you're losing out money because customers can slip through the cracks when you don't have some type of, automated billing, or you don't have someone, whether it's yourself or someone else, kind of overseeing that process and making sure, your business is receiving all the funds that, is owed to it. Another tip that I would kind of give is staying on top of tax deadlines. A lot of times, we're so busy and we're just operating and working in our businesses, and the lack of not having maybe your books in order, or waiting till the end of the year, to see, what you've made or get your books in order, then hefty penalties apply when we're not doing proper record keeping and we're not keeping up with those tax deadlines and keeping up what taxes are supposed to be paid. Because once you've actually owed taxes in your business, the IRS expects you to pay your quarterly taxes in the forthcoming years. And normally your tax preparer, your accountant, can kind of give you some estimated tax slips where you can go ahead and plan out and go ahead and send those payments in quarterly. Because once you haven't paid your estimated taxes on time, that is something that you do get penalized for. I just believe that, once we really just get a handle on when it comes to our business finances and we automate things and make it so much easier for us, then it saves us money in the long run, because we're prepared. We're prepared whether it's something that we do have to pay back to the IRS, or we're prepared when it comes to making sure our taxes and sales taxes and different things are paid on time. And even when it comes to your annual business registrations, just making sure that those things are paid on time. Because I always say that most businesses that I've seen, they don't fail because it's a lack of revenue. It's all in how you manage those finances. And I believe that the way you manage your finances in your business, it can make or break your businesses. I've seen businesses, where they have the revenue, but it just depends on where they're allocating those funds to, and then just how they're managing those funds. And whether you're saving when you have those, if there's a certain time of year, like for me, I do taxes and different things. So of course, the beginning of the year for me, that's my most profitable time of year, although we do taxes throughout the year. But that is a good time where, I can really start taking a good bit of the funds that I have coming in at that time and setting it aside. And then, if I have lean times when it comes to the summertime, because typically, I've seen where a lot of business owners, we take a dip during those summer months when it comes to our business, depending on what industry you're in. And so, it helps you when you're, managing your money and planning for the future. It helps you to keep your business afloat, especially, I mean, look at this pandemic. I've seen a lot of businesses doors close, and I mean, it's just so many things that happen, and it makes you really kind of sit down and reassess things and see how, if something like this happens again in the future, how can I better prepare my business to be at a place where it has stability, no matter, if I have revenue coming in because of, my money management habits, basically. And so what I believe, is great that we have our businesses, but this money aspect, this is the most important aspect of our businesses. It is the livelihood of our businesses, the way that we manage these funds. And then I'll give some resources if you're looking for help. And one thing I also recommend with business owners, if you're just starting a business, make sure a lot of times we allocate our funds to, getting our buildings and starting our business and investing in product or investing in, our marketing and all of these, but definitely set aside funds to make sure that you can afford to talk to an accountant or a financial advisor, someone who can help you, make sure that your business is growing and that, you're not depleting yourself and that your business is on a healthy track and that it stays on a healthy track. That is the most important aspect. And so, those are some of the points I kind of wanted to discuss on tonight. Some tools that you can also use outside of bookkeeping software. Box is one software. I'm not sure if it's box.com. It's great with storage. And if you get the personal account, and I think I know they have a free account. I've used Box. Slack is another great communication tool. They have a free version of that. And then, like I say, if you can, please invest in a bookkeeping software to help automate your business. And then also make sure you find some type of financial, just to have a financial person for your business, whether it's an accountant or someone that, specializes in businesses, because it definitely makes or breaks your business, as I stated, when it comes to the way you manage those finances. Miss Leah, did we have any questions or anything?
I haven't seen any questions come in.
Okay.
Renee, if you
No, I
don't
do
mind.
not see any questions, ladies.
Okay.
A lot of great information. Thank you.
Yes,
Awesome.
a lot of great information. I'm going to recap a couple of things, and I actually have been writing, I've actually written down a couple of questions that popped into my mind. So for those of you who are just joining us, perhaps you'll replay later. If you could, in the comments, if you replay later, just do #replay. We appreciate you doing that for us. And again, I'm just going to do a small recap from what Miss Devona Ransom. She is the owner of Ransom. Say the name of your company for
Ransom
me.
Credit Management Services, LLC.
There we go. Ransom Credit Services, LLC. So a couple of things that you have pointed out is, number one, definitely have a separate account. You want to separate your personal income from your business account. And that's very important. And I can also say that for me, for instance, I actually have my accounts in separate banks. So wherever I have my personal, so there can, if I'm ever audited, and that's just me, I just keep a, but it is important that you keep your personal money separate from your business account. Another thing that she highly recommend is to automate your accounting, your finances by using some type of accounting software. And I know right now a lot of y'all, especially starters, like, well, I don't have money for that. Put it into your budget. It doesn't mean you necessarily will start out that way, but at some point transition into using an automated software. And this is where I actually want to ask you a question. So for instance, if somebody does not start with the software, what are some particular areas that you should be tracking if you're using something other than an accounting software?
And I've seen a lot of individuals use spreadsheets. You want to make sure you're keeping track of especially if you are an entrepreneur and you sell a product or you go to events or you have a delivery service, make sure you track those miles, because those miles really, really help when it comes to business deductions. And one thing I tell my clients is all, when it comes to the IRS, it's all in what you prove, what you can prove. And so if you haven't tracked those miles and you kind of give an estimate of, what you've done in mileage or what you've done in terms of your expenses, and you get audited, I mean, if you can't prove it, then you can't really take those deductions. But I would say, like I said, your marketing expenses, when you are buying business cards, when you're going to vendor events, when you're buying flyers, paying for video production or anything when it comes to your company, your tax preparation services for your business, all in itself, that is something you can deduct on the next year. I would say, what are some other, you can, if you use a vehicle for your business, there are either you can do the mileage or you can actually do a deduction from your actual expenses when it comes to your vehicle, but you can't do both. One thing I would also recommend, your gas receipts, that will be considered up under your car expenses, your gas, like I say, your gas, and then your mileage. You can't deduct both of those, but you can do the actual expenses of your car when it comes to maintenance, when it comes to gas, when it comes to just anything that you're doing in reference to that business, that vehicle, and you're using it for business use, those things are deductible. If you have a dedicated space in your house, you have the office, home office deduction that you can deduct, where you take a percentage, whatever the percentage of your house is, the dedicated space is in comparison to your house, any bills associated with running that business that you incur on a personal level, a certain percentage of that can be deducted as well. I would say any professional fees, any of these softwares that I'm recommending, they're deductible as well. Anytime you go see your accountant, anytime if you have a business business manager, not a business manager, but a business consultant that may be helping you with your business, that's something that you can deduct. When it comes to meals and entertainment, and say if you're eating meals on the go while you're working and different things, those are 50% deductible. If you're taking clients out, that's 50% deductible. If you are traveling, make sure one tip I want to give as far as expenses, keep your travel business expenses and your, when it comes to your eating and hotels and mileage and all of that, always keep that separate from your ordinary, food expenses and different things that you may incur in town, because those are 100% deductible, while, your everyday meals while you're at your normal location, those are only 50% deductible. So that is something to make sure when it comes to just kind of, just being very detailed with it, because your finances, like I say, are very important. I can, if you guys reach out to me, I can send you a list, because I have a list that I give out to my business owners that are self-employed once they come file their taxes, so they can kind of, look for different things that they may not have tracked, in the current year, and they can ensure that they're tracking it in the previous year. Even
Okay.
like with, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're okay. Continue.
Yeah. When it if you purchase equipment, or if you're a salon owner, all those purchases that you're making with your business, those are deductible, and then they have a certain life span or whatever that you can kind of deduct it, but you would have to kind of get with your tax preparer or your accountant to see how to properly get the depreciation from those different assets. But it's great to just talk to someone financially, because if you're making purchases, especially if they're over 2,500 or more, you definitely want to make sure that you're properly notating and allocating for those assets. So once you do file taxes, you have everything that accountant or that tax preparer needs to ensure that you're getting all the tax savings that you have. And then I would say find someone who specializes in, if you're self-employed, find someone who specializes in what you do as far as taxes as well, because that makes a big difference, because they're more knowledgeable, and they can look for extra things that you may have overlooked, to ensure that you make sure that you are getting those deductions accounted for.
Well, thank you so much. You mentioned quite a few great information that you mentioned from what you should be tracking. I hope that our audience has taken note of that. You're from equipment, from travel, those of you that may not know, from your meals, if it's related to your business, such as business meetings, to include, and how important it is to track your mileage. But I think the biggest thing that you mentioned was the importance, because it's so wide. I believe it's so wide and so much information that somebody that's not knowledgeable about what can be tracked, it's important to be able to have somebody you can talk to, like Ms. Devona Ransom, who is a financial advisor, or find an accountant, somebody that can help you, walk you through, so that you'll know what you need to track throughout the year, so that when it's time to file for your taxes, or you find yourself like we are right now going through a pandemic, you'll be able to transition, a little bit more smoothly, instead of, trying to figure everything out at one time. So another thing that she brought out is she shares some great apps, and I am going to ask Ms. Devona if later you can email those to us, and perhaps we can put them in a GABC email. Those of you who wants to stay connected with us, you can stay connected or join our emailing list, or you can become a member by going to linktree/GABC. Okay. And so, again, she also mentioned, I think was a really good, again, I'm going over some recapping and about assessing your current subscriptions. This is a way to be able to reduce some of the items that you are aren't currently using, that you may find as no longer relevant to your business, either because you've grown and you're now using another tool. This is a great way for you to turn around and check and see whether or not you have any redundant items that you need to just, discontinue using. So I think that was really great as well. Quarterly reviews. This is important. You do your quarterly reviews. I'm very big on corporate America, and sometimes we lose sight of it as small business owners or LLCs or entrepreneurs, that we don't take the time to do our quarterlies. Those become very important when you are shifting and transitioning or your business, whether it's you're downsizing or you're upgrading. And also it becomes very important for your taxes. Review your payroll services. And you did mention T-sheet. Did I get that right?
T-sheets, yes.
T-sheets,
It's
okay.
time tracking, yes.
Okay, for time tracking. And then also with your taxes, and this is something that I actually did this year. My LLC is fairly new, but I was very thankful that I actually got my tax slips to help me for next year, so that I will pay those before the end of the year, and it actually gives me a date on when those are due, and it breaks down that larger amount into more manageable payments when you stay up to it. Include that into your budget. And so even for myself, I say, you know what, I'm going to include this much for taxes just for my business, and I include that into my obligated funds, how I'm going to distribute my funds. And this becomes very important, especially for upstarts. So this is my question to you. And I know a lot of people, immediately get the money. They're like, oh, I can pay this, pay my household. And they pay themselves. And then they're like, oh, I need this new inventory. And they just get it. I believe the best way when you're looking at your funds is have a system or a method in which your funds are obligated. And for me, and this just for me, I obligate a certain amount for taxes I set aside. I set amount for myself to pay myself, and then I set amount to reinvest into my business. Do you have any thoughts on that, or any tips that you can share for those who are listening?
Oh, I do believe that is that's accurate and that's a great practice what you're doing and it is because that all at the end of the day that's still money management for your business, making sure I've seen where some individuals they have an account where they put money into it just for their taxes and just for licensing and the bills that they know that they have coming up on a quarterly basis. I do believe that you should set aside a certain percentage, especially, a lot of times when we are starting out as small business owners, we do rely on a lot of the income, but it's so important to make sure that, you're putting that money aside, even when it comes, especially with your sales taxes. Please make sure you're putting that sales tax money aside and you're actually paying those sales taxes because I've seen businesses, get penalized because of the lack of those sales taxes. You can have a entirely separate account just for sales taxes alone. You can do it on a daily basis or a weekly basis, just making sure you're separating your taxes, from the money that you're making. But I definitely would, advise maybe having different, if you're not good with budgeting or money management, having, separate accounts when it comes to the expenses as far as your legal expenses and different things that, you may occur.
Okay, well, I think I have ended. Again, thank you so much for joining on this evening. You share some great tips, even for myself, even some reminders, because sometimes we just need to be reminded of some things. So again, we have Devona Ransom. Could you go ahead and again share your name? How can individuals reach you if they desire to reach you, and the name of your business?
Okay, awesome. My business is Ransom Credit Management Services. You can, well, we're on Facebook, and then we have a website at ransomcreditservices.com. You can see all of our service offerings and the programs that we offer. We help you on a personal to a business level. So we can help you with credit, we help you with finances, taxes. We can help you set up your bookkeeping software if needed, or we can point you into the right direction of a professional that you may be looking for as well. But you, like I say, you can reach us at www.ransomcreditservices.com, and then we're also on Facebook.
Yes, and also those of you who don't know, she is our CFO for the chamber. So great wealth of information. Thank you again. Renique, did we get any questions before we end?
Oh, just a lot of thank yous. Thank you for all the great information, those comments, but no questions.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us on this evening. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging with us on this evening. And again, please join on tomorrow where they will be having a chamber check-in, and that will be at 3:30 p.m. And on this, and just so you know, on this Thursday, I will be going live maybe about 6:30 or so, and I will be announcing the winner of our April giveaway. Have a good evening.